Hi BookTube, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I'm going to do the 1001 books tagged inspired by Arabian Nights. I don't know the creator of this tag, but I will post a link in the description box below, so if you're interested in doing this tag, or I will at least post someone who did this tag. Probably, I think it was Eric Carl Anderson's video. The person that I saw, Eric Carl Anderson, was the person I saw doing this tag. So, there are a few questions on here that don't have to do with books, but mostly it's book questions. Okay, question number 1: do you follow any book list? I didn't really become aware of book list until BookTube. And there's a lot of booktubers I watch that follow this list. I don't really do it because I feel like I've looked at those lists just to mark the ones I've read, just to see which ones I've actually read on those lists. Like books to, read before dying kind of list, or books to, the classics, stuff like that. And I just mark off which ones I've read. And I've looked at them to see if I would be interested in any of the books that I have on there. And some of them I have been interested in. If there are there is a good amount that I am interested, then I might print out, like I printed out a copy of Rory Gilmore's reading list. If you, from the show Gilmore Girls, so I printed out her list, and some of the books on there I am interested in, or that I have read. But I don't want to, because I would feel like if I decide to go by my, a TBR that's one of those types of list, then I would feel obligated and feel the pressure, and then, I already have a book buying problem as it is, so I'd feel like, and yes, I know I could go to the library, but my library kind of, I've said this before, my library isn't that great. I wouldn't say it sucks, because it's nice to have it, and it's nice it's in walking distance, but it's not a big library, so it doesn't have a huge selection. And then the used bookstore is, this is a small community, and it was originally a retiree community, so it's a lot of, there's some displays of romance, there's a lot of mystery. Both the library and the bookshop are covered in mystery books. And there is another library, but I have to drive to, and I cannot drive. So I would have to rely on other people, so there's no point in having another, relying on the other library, which, I don't know if it's this tag or another tag where I was thinking about the library and how people will have multiple library cards on their Libby app. Well, I can't. I can never do that, because that library, there's no point in me going to that library, because if it's in driving distance, then, I would need to rely on someone to drive me there, and public transport is not that great right now. It wasn't even that huge here to begin with, because this is a small community, so, and now, they don't have people, so it's hard to get the Lyft or the Uber people. So, yeah, I'm limited with the library, and then, there are some nice bookshops, but outside of Pinehurst, but I still have to drive to them, and they're still kind of small, so, but better selection, I think. But, although I will say that I've said this before, that the bookshop, first of all, I appreciate that it's there, I love that it's there, and it's in walking distance, I love that, but, it also allows me to try different types of books other than my usual go-to books. I just have to get a ride to the Books A Million, or, the country bookshop, or, the other used bookstore. As long as I can get a ride. But yeah, back to the actual question, basically no, I don't really, I'll look at the list, but I don't follow them regularly. So 1001 books. Approximately how many physical books do you currently own? How many ebooks? I don't own any ebooks. I have read some ebooks. Well, that's not true. I do have some ebooks. I have a Nook. I don't use it anymore, but I had a Nook, and I don't remember how many books are on there. But I have not read those. Like the Forbidden Game is on there by I cannot remember the author's name. She might have been the same. It might have been the same people um who wrote the Vampire Diaries, or maybe not. Maybe it's just because the cover design is very similar. And it, but there's the Forbidden Game, and then there's a couple books that my mom has on there because she didn't have her own Nook or a Kindle for that matter. Although she could get a Kindle because she has, Amazon. But so I do have some ebooks, but I don't read them. So, and I don't remember, and I don't remember, and I do not feel like going on there to look and count just to answer this question. But I have mostly physical books. I have some audiobooks. Earlier this year I got decided to start using the app that comes with the iPhone that you for listening to audiobooks, but I still gotta pay for audiobooks. And that's like a very, another conflicted little thing because so mostly I have physical books, and I have a lot, over 100. And I actually have I have them organized in a list. But and then I have a bunch of series and stuff that I just bought. I literally just bought a book yesterday. And I think it's a book that I want to say it's a book that Josh from a book voyage, Josh's book voyage talked about, called The Passage by James Cronin, I want to say. And I literally think he talked about it. Like I saw it there, and I saw it in the store, and I was like, did Josh from this channel talk about this? I think he talked about this book. Maybe I should buy it. I actually yesterday almost bought a hardback copy of one of the Stormlight Archive books. Because I want a regular size paperback because I have mass markets, but I want regular size paperback. I want to get rid of the mass markets at some point. Ideally, I would love to give them for Christmas. But I almost bought that, and then I was like, you know what? No, because my mom's gonna be all like, "Why'd you get a hardback book when you don't like reading hardback books?" Which is true. I don't like hardback books. It was more like, oh, but it might be my last chance. I mean, it might be my chance to get it for cheap, But like I said, it's not that those books are big. Those actually probably fit the 1001 category. But I have not read them. I've read them, but I haven't finished them. Which actually, that kind of applies to another one of these questions. So yeah, I have a lot. And I should have grabbed that list, but again, I'm lazy and I don't want to. I feel guilty for getting up in the middle of a video. Granted, it won't take me. Well, no, because then I have to count all my series too. Like, I have a separate list for series, and that's a lot. And I'm tired. I just got off work. I just decided to go and film this while I could. I mean, I could do it yesterday, but I want to get it filmed tonight, so I can upload it tonight. So you guys can see it tomorrow. Okay, so basically I own I'm just going to say over 100. Like, maybe close to 200. I don't know. Maybe 200. I don't know. I just know I owned a lot. Because I will not stop book shopping. Okay, so 1001 books read. Approximately, how many books have you read in your lifetime? And do you keep track? Well, actually, I did not start keeping track until I joined Goodreads. So I'm sure I've read a lot more. But according to Goodreads, it's like over 500 something books have been read. But that's since joining Goodreads. So, and that also includes books that I've gotten from the library and books that I've unhauled. But yeah, before I joined Goodreads, I I don't know how many books I read, you know. I just I feel like I focused on certain like series more so, like um and then of course there's books I read in school, like, you know, Harry Potter and Twilight, um and Goosebumps. I feel like I didn't read as much as I do now as an adult than I did as a kid. Because it's just so much easier for me to sit in front and stare at the TV than pick up a, well, I shouldn't say that because it's not that hard to pick up a book, but it's just TV requires less concentration and less mind power. Plus I'm in a house who do love watching TV. I mean, we're not the, you know, we're not like we're not what is there what who are they? We're not like the Wormwoods about TV. They were real. Matilda's family was bad when it came to TV. They would eat TV. They wouldn't even get together for TV dinners. I mean, her parents. There's that scene when her dad. I've talked about this before. It's one of my favorite scenes because it's so ridiculously funny. Is when she's reading Moby Dick in the living room, just, you know. And although I wouldn't have stayed in the living room, I would have left to hide out in my room instead of just been there, because how could she? I don't know how she could concentrate with TV going on. But maybe she's had enough practice that she can have TV in the background and it not faze her. But like, it's funny because her dad is essentially like gets mad at her because she's reading a book and not watching TV with the rest of the family, and it's really, it's a funny scene, you know. But so I don't know like the exact number of books I've read over the years. Like I said, as of now, the last few years, it's been over 500. So, and now I keep track. Like, I use Goodreads and now Storygraph, which is, I think, a little bit better. And then I do Word documents and stuff like that, and use Excel a lot more. And but before I didn't really keep track, so I couldn't really tell you like how many books I've read in a lifetime. I don't know if anyone can. I mean, you know, unless you've kept track your whole life, like when you were old enough to keep track, or, you know, maybe your parents kept track of what you read. I don't know, but I did not until now. Okay, so 1001 Arabian Nights. Okay, this is referring to the actual book 1001 Nights. Have you read any stories from the Arabian Nights? Do you have a favorite? If you haven't read it, do you want to? The closest I've come to Arabian Nights is the movie Aladdin and the Disney movie. And I don't know if I would be interested. I mean, I never say never. I just haven't had the desire. Like, I have seen it at the bookstore, and I have thought about buying it for like a second, and then it's like, yeah, I end up walking away. You know, and it's nothing's wrong. I'm sure it's a great collection of stories, you know, and it's just I've never had any urge to pick it up and read it. I've never had any desire to, you know, nothing wrong with it. But never say never. Who knows? Maybe I will one day. I mean, maybe that will happen. I don't know, but I've never felt the need to read it, you know. I've never felt the urge to pick it up or get it, you know, and I've never seen it in my library. So, again, you cannot say, oh, get it from the library, because I've never seen it there. And Libby, I think it's connected to whatever library you use, whatever. But, I'm sure it's a great collection, though, you know, and like I said, I like Aladdin. Okay, and actually, that was one of the ones that I mentioned on my when I talked about DNFing the witch's heart. I think it was that one where I mentioned John Solo's channel, where he talks about like mythology and fairy tales and stuff like that, and he talked about Arabian Nights a little bit and told the story of Aladdin. Which is not as heartwarming as the Disney movie. But yeah, so he probably was talking about a lot of it. He probably should be with Arabian Nights. But no, I mean, I've never read it. Maybe one day, but just not. I have no desire. You know, I'm sure it's great, but okay. So next question: 1,001 flavors. Do you have a favorite food or flavor? And the answer is nope, nope. I just love food. I mean, I have like. It probably would be easy. Well, maybe not, but it might be easier for me to talk about what I don't like. Um, like I don't like hard candy, although that's not a flavor. Um, I'm picky about my sour stuff. Sometimes I like sour. I like spicy again, but to only so much spiciness. Um, my only thing about like sweet sugary stuff, like I don't like syrupy sugar unless except for when pouring syrup on like pancakes or waffles or something. Like I had this plum wine once that a friend of ours knew I liked sweet wine. I really appreciate that she did that for me. And I felt bad, but I did not like the plum wine. It was like too syrupy. I mean, I don't like cotton candy sort of thing, but again, not a flavor. I have a hard time. I can't really answer this question because I don't have a favorite flavor. Okay. Oh, excuse me. 1,001 pages. Oh, I guess that 1,001 flavors also talk about favorite food too. I also don't really like mint and chocolate. Mint and chocolate mixed together does not make any sense to me. Like to me, that's mint and chocolate is illogical. To me, I do not like it. I can't stand it because it's like it's not supposed to be that way. Mint just makes your breath fresh. It's something to freshen your breath when you're done. If you can't brush your teeth, you can at least eat a refreshing mint. You can suck on and then eat it. You do not like the only time I would do mint and chocolate is if like I already had something chocolate and then I brush my teeth like right after, then I'll have the mint chocolate taste in my mouth. But also I don't like freezing stuff, like ice cold stuff, because I have sensitive teeth. So whenever I drink ice cold water, it kind of irritates a little bit. That's not a flavor actually, or a food. So, either way, I don't really have much of an answer for that question. Okay, so back to the other one. 1,001 pages. Have you read a book that is over 1,000 pages? Is there one that you recommend, and is it worth the time? What is the longest book you ever read? Yes, I finally finished this year The Count of Monte Cristo by Dumas. I ended up deciding to pick it up via audiobook. I really enjoyed it. And as I said in my one video, I think it would make a great TV show. I'm apparently the minority here when I say I actually liked that one movie from 2002. But I think it would be better as a TV show. I will say that again. I think it will be better as a TV show, and I agree that 2002 movie or whatever year it came out was a bad adaptation, but I still like the movie, and nothing's wrong with that. Sorry, I felt like I needed to put that out there but anyway, so what I ended up doing is listening to it via audiobook to get through the story, because it was such a long book and I enjoyed it, but there are times when it can be a little slow. And it was taking me a long time because, I think you can listen to an audiobook fast. An audiobook can be read to you faster than you reading something. Like you can adjust the speed and all that. So I was able to get through this book finally, and maybe one day I'll read them physically again. But it's just a mess. I'm just a mess when it comes to over 1,000-page books. Oh, and this is about, not counting all that. Not counting that stuff. There's all these explanatory notes. 1,095 pages. So I've read this one. And then I also have read It, which, by the way, I started that back before we even moved. I started Monte Cristo before we even, I had back when we first moved here. I finally picked up, but I bought it before we moved here, and I finally picked it up when we moved here. So I started it probably in 2017 when I first started that book. I don't know. Maybe Goodreads could tell me when I started, but then I have to move the image of myself on camera. I have to, or the tag. But so that one's pretty old. I've had that for a long time. And then this one, I actually read a different copy. This copy is the copy I have of this next one I'm gonna show you is new, but I've read the original mass market paperback copy, and then I got another mass market that was very oddly shaped. I think it was a B paperback, but I don't know. I think I know what a B paperback is, but I'm not sure. I need like an actual image of a B paperback book. But that is It by Stephen King, which I've read. And as you can see, I did start rereading at some point. It's one, and my biggest issue with these size books is that I read them and I get into them and I get pretty far into them, but then I put them down for a while and decide to read something that won't take me as long to read. So this is another over 1,000-page book. Let's see. I don't know if this one is longer. Let's see how many pages is this one. Is this one? Oh, there's an excerpt. Oh, cool. This one has an excerpt from Sleeping Beauties, which I have a copy of that. I just have it in hardback, so I might trade that for paperback. Well, counting the acknowledgments, it's 1,157 pages. Counting the acknowledgments, 157 pages. But I don't read the acknowledgments, and no disrespect. It's just they're, I'm here for the story. So this is 1,153 pages. So yeah, there's that one. And then I've read Gone with the Wind, one of my first classics. I've read this in mass market, and again, if I ever decide to rebuy this one, I think I would like to trade this one in for a regular size paperback. I have been tempted to get a copy of this one, because I do want to reread it at some point. And this is 1,024 pages. So let's see. Out of these three, because these are only about over 1,000 pages books I've read, these three that I've read and finished, because there's a lot of books that are over 1,001 pages that I've picked up and started reading, like Way of Kings or The Stand. It's hard because the other part of the question is recommending these, and there's things about these. At least Gone with the Wind and It that not everybody loves. Gone with the Wind was written in I want to say the 30s, and the way they portray, black people is not. People do not like that. This was written and people are not comfortable with that. And the big question is, do you take into account that when this was written, or is that not an excuse for people? Now I'm not debating. I don't want to debate that, but this is not. I don't want this to get into that debate or anything like that. but this is, this is a controversial book, I think. So I don't know if I would recommend it. It's a great classic, I think. It's well written. It's just there are things in it that people are not comfortable with. And like I said, you have to take, is you say, well, consider the time period this was written, or is that not enough? Is that not a good excuse? Or maybe you could just warn people about that this book is, because it's about the Civil War, and considering there's stuff in it that people might not like, And then, it is one that has, especially the infamous scene between these 11-year-old kids that people are not comfortable, that are like, really, you had to go there? Really? Even I'm like, really? And it's a scene that will never be seen on screen because it's that bad. Even Stephen King, I think I heard somewhere that even Stephen King says this is not his best work. And there's a lot of stuff in there, again, another book that makes people uncomfortable, and I think it's a great book, personally, but that's just me, and I love Stephen King, but there are things about his work and what he writes in his work that you gotta ask yourself, is that really necessary? Did you really need to put that in there to make the point? And now this was one of his early works. I think this was so and I think he was doing coke when he wrote this. So not that excuse, so I think he was high when he wrote this book. It's but I still think it's debatable if some people, I don't think everybody would agree it's worth it. But it does examine, childhood fears and friendship and bullying, and not just kids being bullied, but adults being bullied. And the clown is so creepy, and when you gotta give Stephen King props for being one of the reasons why a lot of people are afraid of clowns. Next to that one serial killer who dressed up like a clown. And I think he might have even been inspired by that character. I think that real life serial killer to write this book. I think Ed Gacy was, I think. I don't know. I have to look that up. I do not remember the guy's name. But it's great, but it's a awesome book. But it's just there's things in here that I don't know if people would be ready for. With King's King is a bit of a controversial author. Which I think the only reason King is still hasn't been canceled is, first of all, he probably doesn't give a shit, and second of all, he's been around for a long time, and it's I don't think there's enough people that could do that, that could put him on the radar as an author not to. I think it should be your choice if you're gonna read that author's books, spend your money or not, or it's gonna or the same thing with other creators, whether it's books or movies, TV shows, singers. It should be your choice and your decision if you're going to be interested in that person's work. And then, like I said, The Count of Monte Cristo. This is a revenge story. There is so much more to the story that some of the movie adaptations cover. And there are times when I was is this relevant? There are times when I feel it took a long time, and it just, I'm not, it's taking me a long time to commit to a book oops. I have a I have a stamp in my book, and it's all, the stamp is ruined. But there's so much to this story, and it's a revenge story. It's exciting, it's thrilling, it's intense. You don't know what's gonna happen. There's a bit of a mystery to what the count is gonna do, and there's so many interesting details, and like it's such an awesome story. And I definitely, if you love the movie, some of the movie adaptations, and you haven't read the book, check out the book. So those are all the over 1,000-page books. And I don't know if I would recommend. I think it depends on the person. Okay, so question is, do you 1001 buckets? This is talking about bucket list. Which is, do you have one? I mean, do you have a non-bookish bucket list? What is the one thing on your list? And no, I never. I mean, I attempted a bookish bucket list. But no, I don't have a bucket list. I mean, not to say there aren't things I would love to do one day before I die, but I don't think about that. And the problem, of course, is that I can't do them on my own. I need someone, because I don't drive for one. And also, I don't think I would be good on my own. I don't think I would be good being a tourist on my own. I get into trouble a lot. So, as far as that kind of stuff that involves like travel and going places, and there might be some other things, but I haven't really thought about a bucket list for that kind of things that are non-book related. Okay, so question 1001. It's a numbers, 1001 numbers. Do you have a lucky numbers or story behind it? Nope and nope. Authors. Do you have a favorite? 1001 authors. Do you have a favorite author? And okay, I need to fix that. Sorry, I need to fix something. Nothing. I guess it doesn't matter. Do you have a favorite author and or genre? Stephen King, Kate Morton, Brandon Sanderson, and Robin Hobb. Although I haven't read anything by Robin Hobb lately, I've mean to read The Ship of Magic. Oh, and I guess, well, I feel like I can't count, well, then I guess I couldn't count Robin Hobb either. If I went by books in the series, but, so yeah, that's, and I guess George R. R. Martin would be kind of, but, and then, favorite genre is fantasy, although I've expanded my horizons to horror, and historical fiction, but fantasy is my go-to. Okay, yeah. 1001 activities. Do you have a favorite outdoor activity? And no, not really. There's a lot of outdoor activities I do like to do. But I don't really have a favorite. I mean, I think if I had continued horseback riding and didn't get scared after falling off, that probably would have been a favorite outdoor activity. And of course, like a lot of readers, I do like reading out as long as it's not too hot and there's not, I'm not getting eaten alive by bugs. Then reading outside is not bad. But yeah, horseback riding would have been, if I hadn't been scared off of horseback riding, that probably would have been a favorite activity. And I guess I do like hiking, but I don't do it that often. Oh, and I like camping. So I don't really have a favorite. There are a few that I like to do, but I don't get to do as much as I would like to. 1001 book clubs. Okay, this one is not a question. This is not a prompt, but it's a question for people. Should I start a 1001 page book with a book a month read along? This is a question from the creator of this tag, and I say go for it. If you happen to watch my video, I say go for it if you want to do it. I can't guarantee I would participate, and it's not you, it's just me and 1,000. I'm still working on my ability to read over 1,000-page books. I'm not very good at that. But I think it'll be fun, although I don't, I would be curious to see if anyone could do a month. But maybe that's just me, and I'm just the person who can't I can't read over 1,000-page book in a month. Maybe 2, but that's kind of pushing it. But I say do it, if it's something you want to do and have fun with, try it out. And so that is over the 1001 page book tag. Like I said, I will post a link in the description box below on who created this tag. I hope you like this video, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell notification below to see when I post new videos. And I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!